Chosen one, do not scroll past this moment. Do not let your finger move. Do not let the noise of whatever else is waiting for your attention pull you away from what I am saying to you right now, because what I am about to speak into your life is not a general word, not something broadcast across a wide sky for anyone to pick up if they happen to be listening. This is specific. This is for you. Something serious was said about you in private, and I was there when it was said, and I am the one who decides when the truth of it comes to light. That time is now, my child. Be still. Whatever is pressing on you from the outside world, let it press. It will wait. What I need to say to you will not. I need you to feel this in your body before you understand it in your mind. There is a sensation you may be carrying right now, a weight that has been sitting in your chest in a way that feels different from ordinary worry, a quiet pressure that you have been pushing through for days or weeks or longer, without fully being able to name what it is. The strange heaviness in your spirit, the way certain nights feel heavier than they should, the way you sometimes go quiet even in a room full of sound, because something inside you is listening for something you cannot name. My child, that is not anxiety. That is not you falling apart. That is my presence confirming what I am telling you. That heaviness is the weight of truth that has been waiting to reach you, pressing against the barrier that was placed between you and what you needed to know, and what you are feeling is the pressure of that truth arriving. I put that feeling in you. I have been with you in the waiting, and I am with you now in the revealing. Type Amen if you feel my presence confirming something in you right now. What I am about to show you did not just begin, my child. This goes back further than you may realize. There have been people in your life, people with access to places and systems and conversations that you were not part of, who gathered around your name, not to celebrate you, not to build something for your good. They gathered because your name had become a problem for them, because what you carry, what you are, what you were made to become, threatened the arrangements they had built to keep themselves comfortable and you manageable. And so they met, not once, more than once, in private, in rooms you were not invited into, around tables where your future was being discussed by people who had decided they had the authority to shape it. They believed the walls were thick enough. They believed the conversations were buried deeply enough that what was said there would never surface. They were wrong. They forgot that I am in every room, every single one. I was there, my child. I heard every word. I watched every hesitation. I saw every guilty glance that was exchanged when someone in that room said something they already knew was wrong. I kept the record, my beloved. I have always kept the record. And there is nothing they said about you, nothing they decided, nothing they put into motion against your name that I did not witness, document, and hold in trust for this exact moment. Chosen one, you were never alone in those rooms, even when you were not in them. I was in them for you, my child. Do not skip ahead, stay with this. What I am showing you matters more than you know. There was a meeting, my child, a gathering of voices around your name that happened behind closed doors that you were not told about, that was designed to be invisible to you while its effects shaped your reality. The people in that room had a shared investment in a particular outcome for your life, an outcome that served them, that kept the arrangements they had made undisturbed, that ensured your elevation would not arrive on the timeline I had written for you. They spoke your name the way people speak a name when they are afraid of it, when something about it makes them feel the fragility of their own position. They had information, documents, paperwork, decisions that should have moved in your favor and had not. And in that meeting, what happened to that information was not an accident. It was a choice, a deliberate, calculated choice made by people who told themselves they had reasons, who told themselves the situation was complicated, who told themselves that what they were doing was necessary. They were lying to themselves, my child, and I saw that too. Type I am vindicated if something in you has always known there were conversations happening that you were not allowed to hear. Among those gathered, there was one who carried more than the others, a woman whose hands had touched the paperwork, whose signature appeared on a document, whose involvement went beyond the passive participation of someone who simply looked away while wrong was done. This woman was not a stranger to guilt. She had been carrying something about your situation for a long time, something that woke with her in the mornings and sat with her in the quiet evenings, something that she pushed down during the day with activity and noise and the company of people who validated the story she had told herself. She had told herself a story about why what she did was acceptable, about why the document she signed, the decision she participated in, the delay she helped engineer, was not truly wrong in the way it felt like it was wrong. But stories built over guilt are not the same as peace, and she did not have peace. There is something I want you to know about that room that only I can tell you. As the voices gathered around your name and the decisions were being rehearsed and the arrangements confirmed, something happened that no one in that room was prepared for. Someone left, not dramatically, not with a confrontation or an accusation. Quietly, with the specific private kind of breaking that happens when a person reaches the outer edge of what they can participate in and still live with themselves. One person walked out of that meeting and did not come back. And when they got to a place where they were alone, they wept. Not performance, not strategy, genuine weeping, the kind that comes from a conscience breaking under the weight of what it has been asked to carry for too long. This person remembered the moments they had watched injustice being done to you. They remembered the specific instances where they could have spoken and chose not to, where they could have acted and remained still, where the cost of standing up felt too high, and so they paid a different cost instead, the cost of carrying the silence. And the silence had compounded into something they could no longer hold. My child, I made that happen. That breaking was not coincidence. That weeping was not random emotion. I was in that room and I pressed on a conscience that had been trying to go numb, and I would not let it. Because I am the God who sees every attempt to bury what was done to you, and I do not simply document it. I act on it. I move in the places that human eyes cannot see, in the interior space of a person's spirit, where no argument or justification can follow my voice when I decide to speak. Type "The truth is coming out" if you believe God has been moving in places you could not see. Now let me speak to you about this pattern, my child, because what happened in that room was not the first time. This was not a single event that you simply have the unfortunate luck of being caught in, my beloved. This was a pattern, repeated, systematic, deliberate. There have been other doors, other moments, other opportunities that should have reached you and were redirected before they arrived. There have been other conversations where your name was present, but you were absent, other decisions made on your behalf without your knowledge or consent, other moments where something that was rightly yours was handled in a way that served someone else's interests and not yours. The door that closed before you could walk through it. The opportunity that arrived in a form just different enough from what was promised that you could not identify it as what was taken. The evaluation that came back with language you did not recognize as fair but could not specifically refute. The recommendation that never materialized, the recognition that was distributed to people around you but not to you, though the work was yours. I have watched every single one of these. Chosen one. I have kept the full record, not just the ones you know about, my child, the ones you do not know about, the ones that were handled so carefully that no fingerprint was visible, the ones that happened in spaces so far from your daily view that you never had reason to suspect them. I have them all, and the number of them, my beloved, when you see the full picture, will bring clarity to questions you have been carrying for years. The quiet confusion of someone who works hard and stays faithful and behaves with integrity, and yet finds that the outcomes do not reflect the inputs. The specific bewilderment of a person who can see clearly that something is wrong but cannot name precisely what. I am naming it now, my child. It was not your imagination. It was not your inadequacy. It was not some deficiency in your faith or your effort or your worth. It was a system built by people with interests, sustained by silence and complicity, operating consistently in the background of your life to redirect what should have been yours. And I am the one who dismantles systems. Chosen one. Type "Justice is mine" if you are ready to release this into God's hands and let heaven handle what you could not. My child, stay with me right now. Chosen one, do not let your mind drift. What I am about to say to you is the part of this message that your enemy most wants you to miss, because it is the part that takes away their strongest remaining weapon. So I need you here, fully present, your spirit alert. I need to speak to you about who comes back when the exposure begins, Because exposure does not only produce accountability in those who are revealed, it also produces something else. It produces strategic movement. And not everyone who comes to you in the days ahead with softened words or sudden kindness or an unexpected reach out will be coming from a place of genuine reckoning, my child. Hear this clearly. In the days ahead, the enemy will attempt to destabilize what I am restoring. Someone will come to you. They may come gently. They may come with a demeanor you have not seen from them before. Something quieter, something more conciliatory, something that on the surface resembles the kind of change you spent a long time hoping for. A conversation that begins differently, an approach that seems humbler, a tone that feels more careful than the one you are accustomed to from them. And part of you, the part that is good and hopeful and has always wanted the right outcome, will want to believe that what you are seeing is what it appears to be. Do not let loneliness make you vulnerable to counterfeit peace. My child, do not let the weariness of this long season convince you that any offer of relief is worth accepting without discernment. Because what I need you to understand is this: they are not grieving what they did to you. They are grieving what it may now cost them. The repentance that moves me does not begin with a calculation of consequences. It begins with an honest confrontation with wrong. What you will be presented with in certain cases is not that honest confrontation. It is the surface behavior of someone who sees the walls closing and is trying to find a door. Do not be the door, beloved. Do not be the exit through which they escape the thing I am bringing toward them. This is not about hardness of heart, my child. This is about the wisdom I am giving you, the discernment that comes from me, the ability to distinguish between someone who has truly changed and someone who has truly panicked. I will show you the difference, my beloved. I will make the distinction clear in your spirit, in a way that your mind might argue against. Your spirit will know, and I am telling you now, before it arrives, so that when someone comes with soft words and you feel something uncertain, something that does not fully believe the presentation, you will remember that I told you this was coming, and I told you to trust what your spirit says. Type I was not imagined if you have spent time questioning whether what you sensed was real. There is something I want you to understand about the document, my child, about the signature, about the woman whose hand touched what was used to delay what should have reached you. I am not asking you to carry hatred for her. I am not directing you toward a confrontation. You are not equipped to have or a legal process you are not ready to navigate. What I am doing is showing you the truth of what happened, so that you stop carrying the confusion of someone who experienced consequences without ever being shown the cause. The confusion has been part of what was taken from you. The inability to name the source has kept you in a position of self-doubt, of returning to your own choices and your own character to look for the explanation for why things went the way they went. And the answer has never been in you, my beloved. The answer has been in rooms you were not allowed to enter. That woman is living with what she did, my child. I have not removed from her the knowledge of it. I have allowed it to remain, to be present with her in the mornings and the quiet moments, because I am both the God of justice and the God of invitation. And what she is carrying has the potential, if she allows it, to bring her to the place of genuine repentance. Whether she walks toward that or away from it is between her and me. But what I need you to know, my beloved, is that the delay she helped engineer, the document she signed, the decision she was part of, none of it reached me as a success. It reached me as a record, and records in the courts of heaven are not filed and forgotten. They are held. They are referenced at precisely the right moment. And the moment for this record is arriving. Chosen one. It is not in the future, it is now. Type heaven sees what they did if you have been waiting for someone higher than human systems to take notice. I was in that room, my child. I was there for every word, every hesitation, every decision that was made in the belief that no one important was watching. I want you to receive this fully, beloved, because I think part of you has wondered, in the long and difficult seasons, whether I was present in the specific moments of injustice you experienced, or whether I was simply watching from somewhere distant while things moved against you. I was not distant. I was in the room. I was closer to what was happening than the people sitting around the table. I was present in the exact moment each decision was made. I heard the specific words used to justify each choice. I watched the eyes that looked away when the words did not quite justify what the hands were doing. I saw the guilt that was suppressed in service of the conclusion they had already decided on before the meeting began. And I kept the record with precision, my child, not the vague sense of it. The exact details, the exact language, the exact moment when the person whose conscience broke walked out of the room and carried what they could no longer hold. I have all of it. The record is complete, and it belongs to you, chosen one. Not as a burden, as evidence, held in the courts of heaven, that what was done to you was seen, documented, and already in the process of being adjudicated by the only authority that matters. You were never abandoned in this, my beloved. You were never overlooked. You were never a case that slipped through the cracks of heaven's attention. You were watched over with an intimacy that would take your breath away if you could see the full scope of it, and the season of visible vindication, the season when what I have been keeping in the record begins to translate into the reality of your daily life. That season is not distant. It has arrived, chosen one. Keep listening. Do not let yourself drift from this moment. I have more to say, and what comes next is for the deepest part of you. My child, I want you to understand something about the nature of what was stolen from you and how I return what has been taken, because the restoration I am bringing is not the restoration of something diminished. A partial return, a recovery that gets you back to a starting line but leaves you still behind where you were supposed to be. That is not how I restore. When I move to return what was taken from the life of someone who has kept faith through a long and difficult season, I do not calculate at the level of what was lost. I calculate at the level of what was owed, which is a different and significantly larger number, because it includes the full cost of the delay itself. The years that passed, the opportunities that did not come, the emotional weight carried, the self-questioning, the confusion, the redirected hope, all of it enters the calculation. This is what Joel 2:25 carries for you, my child. I will restore to you the years the locust hath eaten. Every year that was consumed by what was done against you, the years that felt empty when they should have been full, the seasons that passed without producing what they should have produced. I am restoring all of it, my beloved. Not symbolically, not approximately, completely. The return will be so clear and so precisely proportioned to what was taken that there will be no ambiguity about what it is or where it came from. My fingerprints will be on it, and when people around you see what happens in the next season of your life, they will not be able to explain it through natural means, because it will not have natural proportions. It will have the proportions of heaven's mathematics, which operates by a multiplication that human accounting cannot replicate. Type I receive restoration if you are ready to receive the full return, my child. Not the diminished version, but the complete one that includes the interest on everything that was delayed. I want to speak to you now about what the restoration looks like in the specific areas of your life where the damage ran deepest. My beloved, I do not want you walking away with something beautiful but abstract. I want you to carry something specific. The doors that were closed against you, the opportunities that were redirected, the evaluations that did not go in your favor. The recognition that was withheld, those are already being reconsidered, not by the same people who made the original decisions, because their participation in your restoration is not required. I am moving in the places above them. At the level of the outcomes they thought they controlled, but do not. Doors are reopening, not the same doors in the same forms. New doors, positioned better, leading somewhere more significant than where the old doors would have taken you, because the delay that felt like a catastrophe was also a repositioning I have been using for your good, even while you felt only the pain of it. The records are being reconsidered, my child. What was filed unfairly, what was documented incorrectly, what was measured with a standard that was not applied to others in the same way it was applied to you. I see every instance of that, and the revision of those records is not coming through your complaint or your appeal or your human effort to correct what was done. It is coming through my movement in the places that human effort cannot reach, in the conscience of the person who made the wrong decision, and is now in a season where they cannot escape the wrongness of it, in the circumstance that brings the accurate record into a position where it can be seen by the right eyes at the right time. What was withheld is being returned. I want you to receive that as a present tense reality, not a future hope. The process is already in motion. What you will see in your daily life in the coming days and weeks are the visible signs of a movement that began before this message reached you. A movement I set in motion because I looked at the record of everything done against you, and I made a decision. The decision was enough. The decision was, this ends now. The decision was, what was taken from my child will be returned to my child with the precision and the fullness that only I can produce. There is something I want to say specifically about the word restoration as it applies to your name. Because your name was in those rooms, your name was spoken in contexts and with framing that you were not permitted to hear. Your name carries weight in heaven, chosen one. Weight that the people who were trying to manage your story did not fully understand and could not have predicted. When they said your name in those rooms, they were handling something they did not have the authority to handle. And what they said about you, what they decided about you, what they put into motion in connection with your name, all of it is being overturned, not in a way that requires you to defend yourself, not in a way that requires you to be present in those same rooms making a counter-argument, in a way that requires only my movement, and my movement is already happening. As it is written in Proverbs 26:26, whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. My child, the concealment that was placed over what was done to you was not permanent. It was borrowed time, beloved. Everything hidden by deceit has an expiration on the hiding, and that expiration has arrived. What was covered is being shown. What was concealed is being opened, my child. The wholeness of the congregation before which this wickedness is being shown is not necessarily a room full of people. It is the wholeness of the truth itself, arriving in the places where the decisions are made, being present in the conversations where your name is spoken, carrying the full and accurate record of what you are and what you were built to carry into every space where the previous distorted version of your name had been placed. Type nothing stays hidden if you believe every act of concealment eventually meets the light. Chosen one, stay with me. I am not finished, my child. What comes next in this message is essential. I want to speak to you now about faith in this specific season, my child, because I know the particular quality of your faith right now. My beloved, I know it has not been untested faith, the easy believing of someone whose life has confirmed their expectations at every turn. I know it has been faith maintained through the specific difficulty of someone who prayed and did not see, who waited and did not receive, who kept their integrity while watching people around them advance through methods that had no integrity in them. That is a different kind of faith, chosen one. It costs more, and what it produces in the person who maintains it through the full length of that kind of season is a character that is unshakable, a knowing that is not dependent on visible confirmation, a trust that has been refined past the point where circumstances can talk it out of itself. I have watched you maintain that faith, beloved. I have watched you on the mornings when it was harder than the day before, in the moments when a voice inside you asked whether any of this was working. My child, whether the record I was keeping would ever translate into anything you could feel. I was there in every one of those moments. I heard every honest question. I did not penalize you for the honesty of the question, my beloved. I honored the fact that you kept the faith even while the question was present. That is what I see when I look at you. Not the moments of uncertainty, but the faithfulness that persisted through the uncertainty. And that faithfulness is what I am honoring now. What I am releasing into your life in this season is connected to that honoring. The magnitude of what I am bringing is proportioned to the magnitude of what you endured. I do not send the same restoration to someone who waited a short time as I send to someone who waited a long time with their integrity intact. What is proportional to the season you have been through is not modest. It is extraordinary. It is the kind of restoration that announces itself in the texture of your daily life as undeniably, unmistakably, not of human origin. That is what is already in motion. As Romans 8:31 says, if God is for us, who can be against us, my child? Let those words settle into the specific situation of your life right now, not as comfort, beloved, but as a practical assessment of the situation. Every person who gathered in that room to speak your name with wrong intentions was lining up against something that did not have the size they imagined. They were arranging themselves against me, chosen one. They were building a system intended to manage the outcomes for a life that I had already declared belongs to me. And the system they built, the decisions they made, the document that was signed, all of it was placed against something they did not have the capacity to understand. I am not subject to what they arranged. I was never inside the limits of their planning, and what I have planned for your life was not cancelled by their meeting. It was delayed by it, my child, and the delay is now over. Type my name is protected. If you receive this truth that heaven has always been defending what they were trying to diminish. I want to speak to you now about the woman whose hand touched what harmed you, my child. The document she signed, the arrangement she was part of. Those things were survivable as long as the walls of that environment held, as long as the silence held the shape of the agreement. But that environment is not as stable as it was, beloved. The silence is developing cracks. She is standing in a structure I am undermining, and she knows it in the specific interior way that no one can give another person and no one can take away. I do not tell you this to invite you to gloat, my child. I tell you this because I want you to release her, not to exonerate her, but to place her fully in my hands and walk away from the burden of monitoring her situation. That burden is not yours to carry. My justice does not require your supervision, chosen one. I know exactly what is proportional and what serves the truth. Leave it with me. And when you leave it with me, you reclaim the energy that has been quietly going toward a vigilance that was never designed for your hands. The exposure that is underway is not something I will begin at some future point. My child, it has already begun. The movement of truth toward the surface of your situation started before this message reached you. And what you are receiving now is the confirmation of something already in progress. The walls of the rooms where those meetings happened are not as impermeable as they appeared. The silence is breaking in the places where it was always the most fragile, in the conscience of the person who left the room in tears, in the network of people who participated in good faith and are now being confronted with what their good faith was used for, in the atmosphere around the arrangements themselves, which carry the weight of wrongness in a way that cannot be managed indefinitely. Type the meeting is exposed if you receive the truth that what was done in secret is already being brought to light. My beloved, I want to give you something to carry through the days between this message and the full visibility of what I am doing, because there will be mornings, my child, when the world around you looks the same as it did before this word reached you, when the people who were in those rooms are still in the positions they occupied, when the visible reality of your situation does not yet reflect the spiritual reality of what I have already set in motion. In those mornings you will need something to hold, chosen one. Hold this, Psalm 46:10. Be still, and know that I am God, not as instruction to be passive, but as the most aggressive possible posture against the enemy of your peace. To be still in the middle of what has been done against you, in the middle of waiting for what I have promised, is to declare that you know something the enemy does not want you to know, that I am God, that I am moving, that what I set in motion does not depend on your anxiety to arrive, that your peace in this season is not naivety. It is the deep, grounded, unshakable certainty of someone who has heard from the living God and chosen to believe what they heard. Type I will be still if you receive the gift of peace that operates above circumstances. Chosen one, I am asking you to do something now, my child, in the middle of everything you are carrying, in the middle of the season you have been through and the vindication you are moving toward. I want you to turn your heart outward for a moment, beloved, because there is someone in your life who is in their own version of this, someone who is sitting in their own confusion, carrying their own quiet, knowing that something wrong is happening around their name, unable to see the full picture, questioning themselves in the same way you have been questioning yourself. Someone who needs to hear exactly what I have been saying to you, but has not yet encountered this word. Sow a seed for that person, my child. Not for yourself in this moment, for them. Visit the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen and sow a seed in their name as an act of faith that says, I believe the God who is moving for me is also moving for them. I believe the truth that is surfacing for me can also surface for them. I believe that what heaven does for one willing heart, heaven is prepared to do for another. That act of faith sowed in someone else's name in the middle of your own season of waiting and receiving is one of the most powerful things I can ask of you. And I am asking because the person whose name is on your heart right now needs someone to believe for them the way I have been asking you to believe for yourself. Sow a seed for them, be the intercession their season requires. My beloved, I told you earlier that those who built against you will face a day of reckoning, and I want to speak to that directly now, because justice is not a small theme in my character, and I do not want it to be a small theme in your understanding of what is happening on your behalf. Every arrangement built in those rooms, every signature on the document, every voice that spoke your name with the intention of limiting what I had already declared over you, every hand that touched what was used to delay what should have reached you, all of it is in my record, held with precision. And the day of accountability is not somewhere in an indefinite future. It is structured. It is moving. It has a shape that is already visible from heaven, even if it has not yet fully arrived in the visible world. Isaiah 54:17 is not a general comfort. It is a specific declaration about your situation. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Every weapon formed against you in those rooms, every document signed with harmful intent, every decision engineered to redirect what was yours, none of them prospered. None of them accomplished the permanent result their authors intended. They produced delay, they produced pain. But they did not cancel your destiny. They did not remove your name from the record I have written. They did not take from you what was given before you were born. They failed, every one of them, and the exposure that is coming now is not the announcement of their success. It is the announcement of their failure. Heaven declaring that the weapons did not prosper, and the record is being corrected, and the restoration is arriving. Type I was not imagined with the fullness of a person whose knowing has been vindicated. You were not paranoid. You were not oversensitive. You were not manufacturing problems where none existed. You were accurately perceiving a reality that was being deliberately concealed from you. And I am the God who lifts concealment. My child, chosen one, beloved, I want to tell you what is coming into your life now, not in vague terms that leave you holding something beautiful but shapeless. In specific terms that I want you to be able to recognize when they arrive. There are doors that were closed against you that are being opened by my hand, my child, not reopened through the same processes that closed them, not requiring the cooperation of the same people who engineered the closing, but opened through the movement of my authority over circumstances that those people do not control. You will encounter these openings in ways that do not follow the expected pattern, beloved. An opportunity arriving through an unexpected channel. A conversation beginning with someone you had not considered. A decision made in your favor by someone who does not have the full picture, but is being moved by something they cannot fully account for, which is my hand in their situation. You will recognize these openings, my child, by the quality of ease that accompanies them, the specific way they arrive without the resistance that has characterized the previous season. That ease is not your imagination. It is the signature of my movement. There are records about you being reconsidered, some formally, some informally, some in the interior of a person's conscience, without any external process accompanying it. The evaluation that was unfair, the assessment that used the wrong standard, the recommendation that never arrived, these are all in motion, being pulled back toward the truth of what they should have been. You may not see all of it. Some of it will simply produce results in your life that do not come with a clear explanation of their source. Do not require the visible chain. Trust the outcome. When what arrives feels like justice, it is. When what comes feels like restoration, it is that is my doing. Receive it fully. The person whose conscience broke in that room has already moved in a direction that will produce something visible in your story. The movement is quiet, but it is real, and it is in the direction of your vindication, my beloved, because you stayed in faith when it made no sense, because you kept your peace when you had every reason to break, because you maintained your integrity in a season that would have justified bitterness and did not justify the hope you kept anyway. I am honoring that now, my child. The honoring is not a future event contingent on conditions you have not yet met. It is present. It is active. It is already in motion in every area where the damage was done, and the visible results are on their way into the texture of your daily life. You will feel this before you see it, my beloved. A morning that feels different, a settling inside you where there was agitation, a quiet certainty that something has shifted, that the atmosphere of your life has changed in a way that your circumstances have not yet caught up with. That is the first sign. Pay attention to it when it comes. Chosen one, it is not false hope. It is the advance notice of heaven given to a child I love, announcing that what is coming is already on its way. Type, my name is protected, chosen one. Say it with the authority of someone who has heard from the living God. Your name was in those rooms, my child. Your name was handled carelessly, deliberately, with harmful intention. And your name is in my record. My record is the one that governs outcomes. My record is the one that shapes destiny. My record is the one that the courts of heaven consult when the time for accounting arrives. And your name in my record is not diminished, my beloved. It is not annotated with the limitations those people tried to attach to it. It reads the same way it read before the meeting, before the document, before every closed door. It reads the way I wrote it before you were born, chosen, seen, worthy, prepared, and destined for everything those rooms tried to prevent. My child, beloved, I want to bring you now into the place of prayer, because what I have been saying to you, my child, is not only revelation, it is invitation, an invitation to place the full weight of what you have been carrying into my hands, my beloved, with the specific release that comes from having been shown enough of the truth to trust that I have seen the rest of it. This is not naive surrender, chosen one. This is the deliberate, chosen, informed release of a person who has been shown the record and who knows that the keeper of the record is competent to handle what it contains. So come with me now into this prayer, my child. Let every word of it be yours, not merely heard but agreed to, not merely spoken but inhabited. Because the prayer you enter tonight, my beloved, is not a beginning. It is a closing. It is the door of a season shutting behind you, and the first breath of a season opening ahead of you. And I am standing in the space between those two doors, chosen one, which is where I have always been. In every transition of your life, in every threshold you have crossed, in every moment when one thing ended and you were not yet sure what was beginning, I was there, and I am here, my child. Let us pray together, Father. I come before you now, not with polished words, not with the performance of a faith that has no doubt in it, but with the faith I actually have, the faith that has been tested by the specific season I have been through, the faith that persisted through confusion and delay and the slow erosion of hope that comes from a long season of not yet. I come with this faith, and I place it before you, and I receive what you have said over my life in this message. I receive the truth of what was done against me, not as a wound to be nursed, but as a truth to be released into your hands. I receive the record of what I was not allowed to see. I receive the vindication that is already in motion. I receive the doors that are opening and the records that are being reconsidered and the return of what was taken from me. I receive all of it, Father, with both hands, without the protective half-belief of someone who has been disappointed, with the full and genuine and chosen openness of a person who has heard from you and has decided to treat what you said as done. I release the woman whose hand was on the document. I release the voices in the room. I release every instrument of the season that was designed to work against me. I release the anger and the confusion and the self-questioning. I place it all in your hands because your hands are large enough to hold it and precise enough to handle it with the justice that I trust you to bring. I do not need to supervise your justice, Father. I do not need to monitor the consequences of those who did wrong. I need only to walk forward into what you have prepared for me with my hands free and my heart open and my spirit positioned to receive the fullness of the restoration that is on its way. I believe that the years the locust has eaten are being returned. I believe that the weapons formed against me have not prospered. I believe that what was hidden is being disclosed and what was concealed is being brought into the open. I believe that Luke 8:17 is not a general promise, but a specific word written into the fabric of my testimony, and that the truth about what was done to me is on its way to the places where it needs to arrive. I believe, Father, help what remains in me that is still uncertain. Hold the places in me that are still raw. Strengthen the places in me that grew tired from the waiting, and let me leave this prayer knowing that I am not the same person who entered it, that something in me has shifted, that the agreement I have made with what you have spoken is real and witnessed, and already producing what it was always meant to produce in the life of a child you love. In your name, Father, Amen. Type Amen, my child. Type it with the full weight of everything you have received in this message, with the weight of the truth that was shown to you, and the faith with which you received it, with the weight of the record kept in heaven, and the justice that is already moving on your behalf, with the weight of the years being returned, and the doors being opened, and the name being protected. Type it as the declaration of someone who has been shown the truth, and chosen to stand in it fully, in the name of a God who has never once lost a record, and has never once forgotten a name. My beloved, as you step forward from this moment, carry a knowing, not a feeling, because feelings move, not a circumstance, because circumstances shift, but a knowing, the specific, grounded, unshakable knowing of someone who has been shown the truth. You heard correctly. The meeting happened. I was in the room. The record is complete. The justice is moving, and you are the child I love. The one whose name in my record reads not as diminished or limited, but as chosen, prepared, and ready. There is someone whose name is on your heart right now, the person whose face comes to mind when you think about who most needs what you have just received. In the next moments, visit the link in the description below, or scan the QR code on screen. Sow a seed in their name, not as a transaction, as a declaration that the God who remembered you also remembers them. This ministry exists to carry words like the one you received today to every person whose name has been in rooms they were not invited into, whose truth has been waiting to surface. Supporting it is supporting that work. So, visit the link in the description below, or scan the QR code on screen, and trust that the God who kept the record of everything done against you also keeps the record of every act of faith you have ever made. Including this one, you are vindicated, my child. The meeting is exposed. The truth is moving toward the surface, beloved. Heaven has seen what they did, and heaven does not lose records, or forget names, or overlook injustice. You are held, chosen one, you are seen, and you are being restored, my child. Go forward in the peace that passes all understanding, and pay attention to the signs. They are already coming.